I know. I know. It's been a while now.
Wow.
I think I should maybe go get a haircut. You think it might be time? I don't know.
I remember you saying once in one of your videos that it was something about you'd cut it after the pandemic or something like
Yeah,
that. But
right. Yeah. My the woman who cut my hair, it was a family, and they were her father used to cut my hair, and then it's just salon, and then she started cutting my hair, and I went there for my haircut I had scheduled, and she was in the hospital,
oh,
and they said this is when the pandemic was just starting out, and
yeah.
they didn't even know what it was. She said I saw her about a week later, and she said she had pneumonia. Well,
Wow.
it probably wasn't pneumonia; it was probably COVID.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then after that, I think, you know what? I'm not. Then it really everything started locking down and stuff. I said, I'm not going to get any more haircuts until this is over with. But then I got used to not getting a haircut, so now I'm just
Yeah.
spoiled. I don't bother with it. I just so I don't know how long this is going to get. I don't know. We'll see. But
Just
if
just
I,
do just do the ends,
yeah, yeah,
Keep it
yeah,
long.
yeah, right,
Wear your hair down.
yeah, literally, yeah, right. So yeah, and now I just look like an old hippie.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's right. That's right. Well, Linda's coming in here too. She's going to be coming. She's downstairs right now. I think she's on the phone with somebody,
Right.
and she's going to come on in. But I really thought what you were talking about with the uh, neuroscience and how they're looking into the to psychology of it all
Mm.
might be a link to things, and I think that's a good word. I think that's where it's really leading to too. I think we're getting closer and closer to
Yeah.
um to maybe someday finding some answers with that. Like I said in
Yeah.
other videos, we're just scratching the surface when it comes time to psychic awareness and all
Yeah.
that. We don't really know what we're doing with it. We could explain tarot, but
Yeah.
that still doesn't explain where we get this insight in a reading or in any other time we've got a psychic awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when Lynda comes in, I would thought maybe we'll go a little background about each of us.
Hmm.
And so I don't want to ask you nothing now because she's not here yet.
Well, you can ask me and we can cut it out if you want to. And,
Okay. But you're a professional counselor, right?
yeah, yeah, psychotherapist. Yeah.
And that's okay if we talk about that, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't see any harm in that at all.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's great. And what I really think is interesting is you're on this journey you're on, this thing you're doing with this traveling the countryside there. And did you find yourself having any more psychic awareness because of that or at all? I don't know if you did or not.
No, but I felt really, what was really lovely was being one place that I was working every day, where I was going into a place called Ashdown Forest. And it was, and it was just beautiful there. So it was a grassy car park, and I could be there all day. Couldn't stay there,
Okay.
but it was great to be able to just go out and walk. And there were kind of crows around, and made friends with the crows because I really like them.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
and yeah, there was I wasn't always in the countryside, but sometimes I was, and that was just magical.
Yeah, I bet it was. I think nature really brings out a lot
Mm.
in your frame of mind and stuff. I don't get out much with that anymore, but I used to take walks in the woods and stuff in the mornings. There was Argonne National Laboratories was right down the street from where I lived, and that's like um it's a research area center of I
Mhm.
don't I think they study science in some type, and uh anyway, there's a lot of forest there, and
Yeah,
there's paths and stuff, and beautiful. And I used to go there every morning, and it was so just it got to be a thing. We really it was part of your day,
yeah,
and to be in touch with nature, and and it's a real good way to start your day.
Mm.
And I think it sets a nice frame of mind on things. And it's a nice way to go. Now I just sit in the morning, look out the window.
You've got a garden there, right?
No, you know what? We don't have a garden. We don't have we have a little patch of the backyard is all patio. So it's all concrete. There's no grass. And then we have a small area, probably like 4 foot by 10 foot of garden. So you could say it's a garden. Yeah, I guess we have flowers in there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's where the cats go. It's like the one little area where there's grass. You know, they could go in there, and that's their little forest.
Forest for cats.
Yeah, right. And so, you know, that's it. But and our front yard we're in the city, so we don't have hardly anything in the front yard. And it is nice to have a peaceful nature area if you got it. And I've had that in my life before, you know. So yeah.
But you know, I'll just say it quick, but nature gets everywhere. You know, we are it, and it is us.
Yeah, it's nice to feel like you're a part of it.
But you know, even in the city, when I first came to London, you know, I was struck by how green it was and how much nature just, if you leave a bit, if it's not tended to, you know, stuff just grows.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. It just grows on its own. Right.
Hello.
And there's Lynda.
Lynda, hi.
Sorcha, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you. Good to see you.
Sorry I was a couple minutes late. Powell, our handyman, called. So he's not feeling well. So he's still not feeling well, Vince. So I have to call him on Friday.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's fine. You know, but yeah, we just started out here, Lynda, so that's good, you know, but we're just talking about nature and how it's nice to be connected to it in some ways. And I used to enjoy walking and where she's at right now with out there with a lot of that. And it's just so nice to be. And I think that really getting in touch with nature puts you in touch with a good frame of mind for your psychic awareness.
Definitely.
You know, and it gets you out of this. We get so left brain thinking with our job and the schedules and the time and we know we don't think about things that are really on the other side of the mind that much. And prices of stuff, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and we're really left brained thinkers most of the time. So to get out there, I had one story. One nice story was I was getting it, like you say, you get in touch with nature, and over by the Argonne National Laboratories where I used to walk, there was a pond there, and it was a shallow pond, so there was trees growing out, dead trees growing in the water, sticking out, and there was this duckling sitting on top of this branch in the water, and I guess they used to fish there because there was a fishing line was wrapped around the tree trunk that was sticking out of the water, and there must have been a lure on it, and this duckling tried to eat the lure, and it was stuck in his bill, and he's attached to this tree because the line is attached to him. And the mother is off to the side and she's looking at him, and he's bobbing his head up trying to get off of this thing, and he's out there in the middle of this lake, you know. And so I couldn't leave him there. I just took off my shoes. I just walked out there like waist high in the water. And I was able to get that thing out of his bill, and he went away. But yeah, so that was my good deed for the day there.
Yeah. Did it head straight for the mum? Did the mum?
Yeah, I went right to the mother.
Wow.
You know, and the mother was mother stayed there, but he came to her. But from what I remember, getting back, I don't know, maybe they made each other, I don't know, but either way, I do know that they got back together. So but you get in touch with nature, and you also, I will say, I wanted to mention a few things about psychic awareness that I saw in my life, my experience in it, and how it affected my perception of what I think it is and how I reacted to it. And because I think that it might something to do with that neuroscience you talk about, how it affects us, the world around us, how we react to it, and all this. And so I've formed my own ideas based on my experiences about what I think is really going on. And I do know one thing that I think that at least with me is your psychic awareness can go up and down. And so you could become very aware at a certain time in your life. That doesn't mean you're going to always be that way. You could have other times in your life where you're more distracted now, and you're more grounded. And so I find that depending what other things in my life will affect that psychic awareness. And I think I'll always have it to some extent, but I think it's like a muscle. If you don't continually develop it, it's gonna fade away. And so if other things distract it, or you might change your lifestyle, like you say, getting away from nature or doing something creative or whatever I think my most psychic awareness I've had is when I'm alone for periods of a couple days at a time over a long period of time. And so if I was working, I used to work 4-day weeks. And so I had 3 days off in a row. And that's when I would really, I did a lot of painting then. I would paint pictures. And I was really into the metaphysics and all that. And so I did a lot of reading. I spent all that time, free time, by myself. And I might paint all night, and I might do things like that. So I was more isolated, and that psychic awareness really developed heavy at that point. So the isolation, I think, has something to do with it.
How do you describe psychic awareness in you, and then and Lynda?
Well, to me, it's not knowing something; it's feeling it.
Yeah.
But you could feel something so strong that you know it's fact.
Wow.
You just it's like normally we think, well, if in order to know it's fact, it's because you know it. Like today is Wednesday, okay, but when you feel something so strongly that you just know that that's what it is.
Beyond a hunch.
Yeah, right. Beyond a hunch, right. And this could be, and it doesn't, and I think where we get confused with that a lot is we think if we do have that type of an awareness, that it's got to be some special message coming to us. It doesn't have to be. I've known things that are really trivial, that are really not that important to know. And it doesn't, so what, but I just knew them.
Can you give me an
example? Yeah. Of being at a party and you see somebody there who the woman, let's say you know a woman there, maybe your coworker. He's a company party, let's say. And you see the woman and you say hi, and across the room over there, there's a guy over there talking to a bunch of other guys, and I know that that's her husband. And I don't know why I know. And I'm not going to say, I know that's your husband over there. Who cares? I'm going to find out anyway. But you would know things like that. Or a good example I use is I was going to a lecture, and I was I was about an hour and a half early. So there was a Denny's restaurant there nearby in the next town over, actually. And I was that early. So I went and had dinner at this restaurant, just getting a cheeseburger, and it's like 6 o'clock at night. So it's busy. And I see a couple sitting in a booth over there, and they're eating. And I know they're going to the same lecture I'm going into in the next town over. I know they're going to be there. And then I eat my hamburger and I leave, and I'm there early at the lecture hall. And sure enough, they come walking in. And so things like that would be examples of what are trivial, but they're there and you just know it.
Yeah.
And I knew they were going to be there. I could have walked up to the table and said, "You're going to go to the lecture on on mythology down over," and they would have said, "How would you know that?" Well, I'm not going to say that. They're eating dinner. Let them have their. I'm not going to bother them. You know, they know they're going there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but
bet on it.
but you have these awarenesses like that, and you don't know why, and there's a reason for it. Well, I don't know if there's a reason, but it's just an awareness that you have. But I think what, as far as what I found over time was that I got my own perception of what I think is going on, and I've had I used to have a repeated dream where I understood the whole workings of the universe. I understood what we're doing here, what we are, where we go afterwards, and things. I knew I knew it, and it was so simple, and it was so amazing and so perfect that nothing can ever go wrong. And it was so wonderful to know this. And I would wake up after my dream. I'm in my dream. I think I'm going to let everybody know this. It's amazing. We're going to finally know what this is about. And I would wake up from the dream, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And it made me realize, as far as I'm concerned, that when we're in this body, this vehicle we're in, that allows us to have five senses, really it's not something that's giving us senses or awareness. It's blocking out most awareness. In other words, I think we have a lot more senses that are out there that we're just not accessible through the physical.
Yeah.
And when you're in the physical, you can't see that anymore. And I think that's what's happening. And because I've been out of body, I've had that experience off and on, and I know that I think the final frontier is not space. I think it's leaving the physical body and then being able to come back into it. That will be a final frontier. That's astral projection. But we only do that with death now. I mean, for the most part. And but if we can leave the body and come back, consciously leave and come back, that's what astral projection is. But if we develop that, space travel, I was on the moon, playing around on the moon at 10 years old. And I could be up there in 2 seconds, like that. So space travel is not a thing. And when you're out of body, you realize it's like people who have near-death experiences. You're out of body and you're conscious, fully conscious. You realize that everything's perfect. There's nothing that could happen here that's going to hurt anything. This is just our physical world. And it's
everything is in a divine order.
Well, it's not, you know what? It's a perfect system of some type. And when you have total awareness of it, you realize that nothing could really, this is perfect. And there's nothing to be concerned about. There's nothing to worry about. And to have that awareness is amazing. And I think if we understood that, if we experienced that, it would take religion out of the picture.
Yeah.
Because your connection with the one anyway, directly, that you don't need a priest, or it would get rid of borders in our world. And if you have a psychic awareness, if we develop that psychic awareness, everybody be empathic. I mean, so if we have people starving on the other side of the planet, this would bother us. We would know. We don't have to see it. We would say, oh, we got to take care of this. We have people suffering over there. Yeah. And we would just all naturally take care of each other because we're feeling that. I think it would really it would get rid of a lot of problems if we develop that, if we ever get to a point where we can. Well, right now, I think we have a situation right now where we don't understand what life is. And we don't get it yet. We don't know. We do we can, if I go to my doctor and he says, Vince, you have a heart problem, we need to go surgery next week with you. And I say, okay, fine. So we schedule the surgery for, let's say, Monday. And tomorrow I have a heart attack and I die. Well, they know it's my heart that did it. Well, they can give you a heart transplant, but once you're gone, they can't just put a new heart in me and jumpstart me and I'm okay again.
Yeah.
You know, so there's something missing. We don't know what, we got to figure out once we figure out why I leave and don't come back, we should, you know, I think someday we'll be able to do that. And then that will, then we'll be able to, I mean, I think the being in the physical, it would be like if you were born wearing red goggles all your life. Red goggles on your head all. So everything we see is the color red or a reddish tint to everything. And anything we're seeing has different densities of shade to it, but it would be a reddish look to it. And it's so simple to just take those blinders off, that goggles off and see so much more. The answer, I think, from those dreams I used to have is so simple. It's right in front of our face and we just don't see it. I think it's like the eye trying to see itself. It's so close to us, we can't see it.
Well, maybe we're not supposed to see it.
Well, why not?
Because we're here for this specific experience.
Well,
we can know about it, but
I don't
might
think
alter how we view this.
But you felt it.
But I don't think we're here as a school. I don't think this is a school. I think we're just here. So I don't think we're here to learn anything.
I think we're here to further evolve. I think this is how the whole universe evolves.
Well, we are evolving.
Yes,
I mean, there's a question about that.
Right.
Yeah, we are. I think we are.
I don't know if that's like our purpose or not, but I respect that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And it's a nice one. I'd like to think that.
Well, it's good to have different ideas. So like you said, like Lynda thinks, well, Lynda talks about vibration as being the same as vibration.
Yeah.
And
I was reading actually something about that today, in relation to what you're talking about. But carry on saying what you're saying, and then I'll get to that if you want.
Well, what do you think about what do you think it's all about? Do you have any ideas, Sorcha or Lynda?
What, me? Well, yeah. I mean, I was going to ask Lynda first of all about, because you're, what you call being what psychic awareness is for you and what your experiences are.
Well, I think psychic awareness is something that you're opening up your consciousness to be able to go beyond the reality of what you're experiencing.
Okay.
Your psychic awareness is being able to tune in to a particular situation, person, or whatever, and be able to connect and let whatever needs to come through you with the vehicle that we have, which would be your voice, or your thoughts. And so we connect to whatever it is that we need to connect to.
Yeah.
We're part of it, because in reality, there is only one thing. We are a collective consciousness. When a butterfly flutters its wings in Hawaii, somehow part of that vibration, even though minute, we're going to experience it. We're affected by what's around us.
Yeah.
So,
you mean?
Yes, in some way. So everything is collective. So I think your psychic awareness is tuning in more out of self and opening up more to that collective kind of energy, if you want to call it, connection, whatever it is, specific situation, person, whatever. I think that's what that is. And I think that everything starts from, is affected by, and goes back to vibration. A vibration can change, can manifest an involvement in or the formation of something, the development of something, new life of something.
Mhm.
Thoughts are a vibration. Thoughts manifest things. Thoughts manifest things, and thoughts are a vibration.
Okay.
Thoughts are a vibration. So the higher, I believe that the higher your vibration is, the more in tune you can be to self, to what's around you. The higher your vibration, you have the capability to draw more to you also, because you're open to it, situations and people that are more in your best interest. Like in, say, relationships. If you're down and low in that, or you are a low energy, you attract things on that level, usually, like attracts like. But when your vibration is high and you're up, all of a sudden it snowballs, and all good things start happening, or a lot more good things start happening.
Yeah.
So
One thing I'll say with Lynda, as far as a knack goes, I mean, I've been working with Lynda professionally for 30 years. And just like how people react differently or perceive things differently or act differently. A lot of things, we both have psychic awarenesses. And a lot of them with me, a lot of details in the physical will go over my head with things. Where Lynda and I could be in a situation where we're both there, and she'll pick up more things in the physical because of her intuitive insight that I didn't see. So she has a good way of blending her intuition into useful ways in the physical here, of pointing or evaluating things. And so she's very good at using her awareness. With a reading, you're interpreting it some way for a person anyway, but just walking around and perceiving things, she has a good knack of being able to pick things up, almost like a detective.
Do you mean in the environment?
Yeah, in the environment, right.
So what sort of things, so Lynda, what sort of things might you be picking up? Are you able to, have you got words for that, or is it a felt sense?
About people.
It's a knowing. It's
Right.
just knowing, it's just there. It's
Right,
just
that-
there. I just know it and I feel it, and it is.
Yeah.
The
But
same
lots of
thing
times,
too is,
lots of
being
times
able-
when you know something, though, lots of times that allows you to look and see physical attributes or changes about a person or a situation because you did know it. See, because I
Yeah.
know this, now I could tell that that's why they're doing this, or that's why this is happening over here, because I know this.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lynda. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lynda.
Yeah.
Well, I think I lost my train of thought there. Our thoughts on things vary depending on the situation we're in. Sometimes concentrating on things too much blocks your success, blocks your progress of letting your thoughts in that flow.
Yeah.
I guess it just somehow eventually comes to you to understand that we just are, to understand that we're part of this bigger thing, universe, whatever you want to call it. And this reality that we're in is actually just a pin dot of whatever else it is.
Yeah.
I believe that as we evolve and that we leave this experience and that we are, and if we choose, if you want to call incarnation a good word for it, if we choose to come back to this, we will be able to or want to at some point. But this might not even be an option because this might not even be here anymore. We're on to whatever it is. We could become a person. We could become a plant. We could become an animal. We could just stay where we are. And just knowing that there's an existence is important. People put labels on what, heaven and hell and this and that. And I think that those people need, just like they need different religion, they need that connection. You need that channel of something.
Yeah.
But like Vince said earlier, I think it's actually so simple once we're there that we understand that we just always are and always will be. And like our reality is only in the moment. The reality right now is me talking with you.
Yeah.
Other things are happening in that, but in the moment, this is what's real. We're talking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that for the way that the whole planet now is shifting and has been shifting, and at least recorded things have gone back to about 12, 15 years now, that the planet itself, again, vibration, is on a higher vibration. It's vibrating at a different frequency. So while we're in this experience, we're residing on the planet. So whether we want to or not, we're forced to evolve too. We're forced to raise our vibration, because otherwise what we do then is we either stay or we leave. So what we're going through is what is kind of like an ascension. We're raising up. What are we raising up to? We're evolving in that way where we're going to be more in tune with things than we are now. And some people are experiencing it. When you look at generations now, how they view and accept and understand, embrace more natural things, honoring nature more, understanding the feelings of animals, understanding the benefits of natural diet, healthy foods. Being more balanced in your life. Maybe their older generations will say they really don't want to work all, I worked and I was, at a very young age and I had 2 jobs, blah, blah, blah. They're understanding that there's different things in your life that are important. We can learn from that too. There has to be a balance. You can't
Coming
be
back.
There has to be a balance. And I think that for right now, because again, what happens with that? That planet shifted to a higher vibration. Then you start noticing more and more drastic weather changes all over, more intense hurricanes and this and that, and storms and all. And then chaos, it snowballs, it's collective. The government, different issues with government, and people protesting about things, and then disease, then COVID comes into the picture. It's all different stuff, but it's still the same thing. It's a disruptive vibration.
Yeah.
So how do we deal, and how do we connect in that? And it's by trying to be understanding that sometimes leaving it there and not leaving it there and trying to raise yourself up through joy, happiness, love, being within yourself, and that you raise up, and it's like an airplane traveling through the sky above the clouds. So you're above the clouds. You're safer there. It's better there. And you come down when you need to. So I think this is where we're at right now. I think
But with the two of you, with your psychic abilities, what you've used it for is to help people, isn't it?
Yes, higher purpose.
Yeah.
You're
So
a counselor, aren't you?
Psychotherapist. Yeah.
Yes, you're a psychotherapist. Okay, so is that's work of a higher purpose? You're helping people. You're listening to people. You're there. So that's higher purpose work.
Yeah.
So
And
I think that's what, psychic awareness is too, or can be used for. Being aware of something that you can use it for the betterment of whatever it is higher purpose. It fits in with that vibration. Everyone is psychic. Everybody's psychic. It's just if you're developing it more, understanding it more, or working with it more in what you're doing.
Yeah, everybody can play the piano, but some people easier than others.
Yeah.
Same
Right.
thing.
Yeah, but also what you're doing is I can't try to think of the word. It's unusual. Not everybody does do it, although everybody might be able to have some ability in it.
Well, maybe in this experience they're not meant to. Maybe they're in a different path.
Yeah. I guess what I was going to do was I was thinking about drawing a parallel between, what I do and what you do, and so I go off and I train, and and it's a fairly formal sort of structure. And with you, this is very much intuitive and felt, and I guess you've got the ability, and you hone it and use it, and that's how you
have a studied knowledge. You have an education knowledge of what you do, and actually the two things run parallel, very parallel. But it's just that you're coming from a space of learned knowledge, but trying to achieve the same thing. You're trying to help. You're listening, and coming from the other space, but it's the same thing. Here's an example. Our common friend Laura Passetti, going back to Laura.
Yeah.
She is, as you are, she a counselor, and she is very good at what she does, very seasoned, 28 years, 30 years. So there was a big party that I had booked, and Vince and I were going to do it. For whatever reason, Vince was not available. And it was so close to the gun. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate to cancel on this person. Who could I have work with me? And so just again, I said, what about my friend Laura? And I talked to her. I said, Laura, would you be willing to do a party? And there was like 30 or 40 women to do readings, just very uplifting, casual readings, because she is very intuitive herself. We've done comparisons in our work.
And she
said, sure.
Yeah.
And so what was interesting was everybody loved her that she read for. But when I talked to them and I asked them, well, how did you like your reading? And there were several of them that said, oh, I really enjoyed it. What was interesting, though, is I almost felt like I was talking to my counselor. They enjoyed the experience. They related, but what they related was talking with their counselor and having the reading.
Yeah.
It's parallel.
So she was a counselor doing the readings,
right?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So she couldn't put it away.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
I don't think I could either.
But again, because you are a counselor, and again, your own style or your approach or what you're saying is your own style of whatever. If it comes from a counseling space, that's fine.
And yet what we're really trying to do is forget all of that and be informed by the neuroscience that is coming up about the way that mothers will communicate with their babies with empathic attunement and without words, where the mother will need to understand what the baby is saying and be attuned, because the baby can't talk, and be able to get that.
Well, this is how, again, that's perfect, how we're evolving. This is this ascension I'm talking about. We're going to have that ability to do that, because we do have that ability.
I think it's, according to what I'm reading, actually, it's really old. It's like, it's here. Yeah, it's more like it's because we share brain evolvement with other animals, and we've got this sort of extra prefrontal cortex, this sort of extra bit. But what some of the science is finding, this is Jaak Panksepp, he's dead now, but he discovered that actually human brains and animal brains are remarkably similar, and that our feelings are deep in the architecture of our brain. So this is feelings, our felt sense of stuff. So this is kind of where intuition would come in.
Okay. Is that like instinct then? Instinct? Yeah.
So these are what it's a bit of a mouthful, but these are effective instincts. So and affect means that's feeling.
Okay.
So as humans, we've got we're evolved, so these feelings that start in their subcortical, so that means deep in their instinctive and not thought out at all. So a baby is born with them. Mammals have them, but then what we have is we have animals have a cortex as well. I'm just wondering, it's called the prefrontal cortex, but we basically have to fill it in, or we form a more modern thinking brain in connection with our caregivers, and that starts with the mother, with attunement. And if it goes well, if the experiences are good, we can grow into well-adjusted people. And if it's not so good, then we can have difficulties.
And that's how survival would be. You'd be trained to survive too. The mother would teach you, this is where you go and this is what you do.
So that's understanding the human species. It's understanding that, how we roll, how we operate. And that's for this experience. So how do we have all that beyond being here?
Yeah, do you mean the more evolved stuff where we get out of instinct and we're into something more complicated? Yeah.
Yes.
And this is, you talked about the collective unconscious. And I was reading, this is what got me interested, and I posted something on the group, and it was a paper about, where is it? Let's see if I can find, here it is. Yeah, okay, so it was about this deep subcortical brain of ours, which is the same in everybody. We're born with that. We're born on and running. We can feel. So, and that's kind of gets called archetypal psychological experiences. Okay, and it's another real kind of mouthful. But this
archetypes, yes.
Yeah. So the I have no idea how the archetypal images that we get, of these characters that arrive in myths and fairy tales and and so on, how we get the imaging, but certainly the feelings are archetypes. There's 7 of them. There's 7 that Panksepp found anyway. Okay, and they're all linked to survival. So they are seeking. So that's the kind of curiosity bit that gets you foraging and hunting. Play, joy, no, care. Okay, these are circuits in the brain.
Okay.
There's care, which is the attunement part, and I think that is something that you're really using, is that care, that kind of connectedness part. There's joy, so that play. So that's a kind of joyful kind of, animals rough and tumble, kids rough and tumble, and then adults kind of joking, laughing later on. What else is there? Oh my goodness! So there's fear. That's if we're about to get eaten and we need to get into a fight thing. Okay. There's panic and sort of separation, distress. So the opposite of the care part. So if mum goes, if we're a cub, we go wah.
Okay.
Her to come back, and she feels it and we feel it, and I've forgotten lust, where we feel horny.
Lust, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that gets us propagating as a species. So these are all, this is all about like whether to go forward, whether to it tells us how we're doing in our quest to survive and thrive. Whether to keep on doing it, feels good, we keep doing it, feels bad, get away from it.
Right.
Push it. Yeah,
that's basic then. Yeah, that's easy when you can think of it that way. Yes.
These are called there's 7 of them.
Not good, you go away from it. I like that.
Yeah.
What are these called? The 7 what?
Void. Yeah, 7. 7 of them. Yeah. So
we have those statues, Vince. It's a set of 7. They call it the 7 sins of men.
Oh.
Yeah,
well, no, it's what are they called?
Here we go.
Archetypes or?
Oh. Yeah. Okay. So they're.
Yeah.
Well, that's they got in the paper that I've been reading. I can send you a link to it. Then archetypal psychological experiences.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, actually, no. The archetypal psychological experience will be the thing that happens whereas these are the kind of archetypal feelings or affects, I guess.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
yeah. So Panksepp put them in capital letters because he was talking about the circuits in the brain. So he called them seeking. Or I can send it to you if you want. Seeking.
But you don't, yeah, okay, whatever you want to do. That's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they're all attached to
Well, just for the tape, for this, why don't we go ahead and go through them? Go
Okay.
ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
Seeking.
So seeking. So
Uh-huh.
that's, for ability to sort of forage and be interested, go and get things.
Yeah.
Lust.
Lust,
Okay. Rage,
rage.
which will get activated when something we're seeking, if we can't get to it, we get frustrated. So we'll go into the rage instinct.
Okay.
There's care, so that's kind of part of our attachment system.
Okay.
And then grief / panic. So that's where we know losing something, fear of losing or loss. There's play, and then there is fear. So fear of something that threatens our survival.
Okay.
As does grief and panic. That's a threat, but it's kind of not quite so immediate.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Not immediate. Okay. Panic.
Yeah.
So I need to ask you, Sorcha, what are your interests as far as doing readings for people? Are you wanting to, this information and that, are you wanting to somehow use that to incorporate it somehow in your readings, the knowledge of all of this?
I don't
Are
even know
you
if, yeah, I
trying
don't
to
even know if you
understand
want to.
yourself? Are you trying, what are you accomplishing with this research? What is your purpose?
This is stuff that I knew anyway.
Uh-huh.
And then I got really excited when I saw it linked with Jung.
Yeah. Okay.
That because it's great when you see that he's got it right. And and Freud kind of had it right as well. What he called, these things are what he would have called the id. The seeking principle. Yeah.
Okay.
Even though
that's where your research, you're putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Great.
Although
exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Although the paper was doing that for me. I forgot what I was going to say there. So I don't know with the readings, because then I was thinking, well, how do we come up with these archetypal images that that are in the tarot, and that are all out there, in fairy tales and myths and legends, and then in dreams as well. So, but and I don't know, but I know that I was thinking, well, you both have received images in connection with people.
One thing I would say, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the human mind is, we're very visual, and that helps us retain or categorize something. If I have something here and I say this gives me, whenever I see this, I'm going to think of this, whatever this is, whatever it happens to be, and say this will always symbolize this to me. This will remind me of that. And the Loci system was that way. And the Loci system was, if you were going to tell a story or something, Homer, let's say Homer from ancient Greece, before they wrote things down.
Yeah.
If I'm going to tell the story of the Iliad, I might take a group of people through a Greek temple. And as I see this statue over here, it reminds me of when Paris stole Helen of Troy or whatever. And then when I go down, as I walk through, I see this statue over here reminds me of the Trojan horse. And this one over here reminds, so these particular things in this area recall my memory to a certain part of the story. And so images help us recall things, or for some reason we symbolize them to mean something.
You're talking about problems. Those stories, Helen of Troy and the Trojan horse, they were problems, weren't they?
Yeah, but they were, well, yeah, but as far as recall, the recall,
Yes.
if I want to tell
Yeah.
the story, whenever I see this, it's going to remind me of that section of the story. And whenever I see this, it's going to remind me of another section of the story.
Yeah.
So whenever I see it, I'm going to think of that. My mind is going to recall to that section.
Yeah.
And that's the LOCI system, LOCI.
Mm.
And I think that images, well, look at what we did as cave people. In caves, we took pictures of our, spray painted our hand with dye on the wall and stuff like this. We wanted images. And I think that those images, we always felt a magic to them. We have, if we put images on a cave of a deer, it was, they called it some type of magic. I forgot.
It's that sympathetic magic.
Yeah, that's what it is. Right.
Yeah.
So I want a good hunt tomorrow. So I'm going to paint pictures of these deer on the wall here, and it's going to help my hunt. And we always got an effect out of images for some reason.
Yeah. And then there's something about, I've thought about, I think I've mentioned this to you before, where if you think about the word imagination, imagine, image in, and then mage, as in the magician.
Oh, yeah.
There's something going on there, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, that could be. The mage. Yeah. Yeah, he's in there. Right. I mean,
there's something that's intentionality. See, all of this intentionality is in this as well with the mirror neurons. Because the other thing about with what you might be really kind of using it, and the thing is, I don't want to like reduce what you do down to I don't know, something. Now, because my cousin who's a chemist, he said, we're just a load of what did he call us? Not cells, but I've forgotten what he called it now. And we were talking about feelings and how feeling comes from you witness something, and that gives you a signal, and that brings in neuropeptides and neurotransmitters, which affect your brain, which give you the feelings, which tell you whether to run away or take action or
okay, all right,
play or whatever.
It's interesting.
And you could reduce us down to chemistry. We could do that, and yet we and you could even reduce our experiences down to chemistry.
Wow.
And yet we are here having an experience, and I can't, we can't argue with that. This is our experience. This is our felt experience. And, and it could be what you were saying, the idea is just to have an experience.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But I don't want to reduce it down to that.
Well,
I've gone off at a tangent there. Sorry.
No, that's great. I love it. And go ahead, Lynda.
I need to tell Sorcha about my dream.
Okay. Yeah, you tell her about your dream.
It's very important. I didn't mention this on the Zoom meeting for whatever reason, and I'm not really great with typing. So
she wasn't
a
at
perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
I dreamt about you, Sorcha, and this was now several months ago. And or maybe a good month ago, month and a half. I dreamt that you were in another life and you were in a family of royalty. And you were a prominent person in the family, but yet your role was, you weren't meant to be like, say, queen, but you were prominent in the family. But your real role, what was so important, is who you were and how you were able to listen to and to assist or counsel the people in the family.
Oh.
And how you were a few words, but you listened, and the few words that you gave them helped so much.
Like a concierge.
Yes, and you were there, you had just the strong purpose and wonderful purpose. And you came from such a loving space, but yet you knew how to apply that in a way that they were able to accept. It wasn't being in this royalty family or that being that way. There was this protocol, and the protocol still was within the family to a certain extent. You didn't really like run up to each other and hug and kiss them and that, but you loved them. There was, a certain manner that you had. So your approach to explaining to them about certain things, you had the ability to be able to put the feeling into it in a way that they could be comfortable in accepting it.
Wow.
And you helped them tremendously, and they loved you so much for that, and they trusted in what you were saying. And that pretty much was the dream, but it was so interesting. Again, you weren't concerned, you weren't interested about being a queen or anything, but you were in prominence, maybe you were a duchess or whatever you were, but yet you found joy and purpose in being able to be there where they could come and talk to you.
Wow.
And what you said was just, again, it was in such a way that they were very comfortable to accept it. And you were able to project a lot of love into it. And they trusted you, that they could come to you and cry and spill their guts or whatever they needed to do. So that was my dream, that this is what you were. And I could see you sitting there and you're smiling. And again, just very chill and you were there, but so strong at the same time. Yeah, that was you. That was right around, I think, the time when the Queen was passing. Maybe that's why it was in my head somehow. And you're from England. I don't know. But yeah, you're very,
Thank you.
very important. Very important.
Thank you for dreaming about me.
Yeah. And it stayed in my head. And it was so strong because usually sometimes I'll remember dreams and a lot of times I won't, or I'll remember a portion of it. But this, it was like I was watching it on TV. Like it was a movie, and I'm like, wow. And I'm aware I'm watching this. I'm observing it. So, yeah. So that's it. I shared it with you.
Oh, wow. Thank
So
you.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like I feel really moved by that. And I think I needed to hear that. And thank you.
Oh, that's neat. That's neat. See, that was something for her to hear, Lynda. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Very nice.
And there is something about dreams that we don't know about. That there's a lot of knowledge in dreams and a lot of insight in dreams that we don't really know much about. Yes. And Carl Jung, he was into dreams. The study of dreams.
Yeah. That I was reading a bit about that actually, because I was looking today to just see if I could find out how we got those images.
Okay.
In the dreams. And all I could really find out was, with us, with people, our eyes are moving. You can see when
the REM.
And with an animal, it might be that its whiskers are twitching.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and it's to do with, and our brain lights up with dopamine at that point.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So this is about the meaning making and the seeking part, again, that foraging part of our system that we're so there's something going on there.
Oh, that's neat.
So I could only imagine then that the fact that our eyes are going, that somehow we are seeing, or we think that we are seeing.
Yeah, because the eye movement, the muscles are moving in the eyes. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because we used to think it was REM sleep, that when we was the only time we dreamed, but reading again today, that actually we dream out of REM as well.
Oh, so that rapid eye movement thing isn't really
No,
Okay. Oh, that's
No.
cool. Okay.
yeah, I can't remember quite why it was that we thought that it was only in REM. I could probably find out and tell you later on.
No, that's
But,
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I know, it's funny because I think children are very intuitive anyway. You're part of that instinct that you're born, you just have when you're born with.
Mm.
And I remember when I was a child, I used to have nightmares. I think we all did at once. You get sick or whatever, and you have nightmares. And I remember that I had I knew it was a dream. So I got to a point where if I was having a nightmare, I would know I'm having a nightmare. And I would just open my eyes in my dream. I would open my eyes real wide as I could, and I would wake up. So I'm visualizing myself standing here, and if something's coming at me, I would just open my eyes real wide in the dream, and I would wake up. And after that, I didn't have any more nightmare. I wasn't afraid of nothing because I just know if I'm having a nightmare, I just open my eyes. I'll be okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it was kind of neat, it was just, I didn't have to worry about nightmares anymore.
So you knew that you were having a nightmare?
Yeah, right. And I knew how to
Wow.
escape them.
Okay.
I knew how to escape them. I said, well, okay, if I want to get out of this situation, just open my eyes real wide.
Huh.
And it worked. It worked for me.
That's incredible.
Yes.
That communication between
Yeah.
your dreaming self, which I'm assuming is unconscious, but I don't know, and your daytime awake self.
Because I would know this is really strange. This must be a dream. I got to get out of here. In my dream, I would know I was dreaming. So yeah, that is, it's interesting that you can make that connection.
Well, I think I'm sorry.
I just lucid dreaming. I'll stop now, but I just wanted to throw that in.
Lucid dreaming?
People who work on being able to dream and be conscious of it so they can direct their dream.
Oh, okay.
That one, I haven't done it. I can't do it. But
what's that called?
Lucid dream.
Oh, lucid dreaming. Yes.
I think the youngsters are, something that the youngsters are doing. Lynda,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
really interrupted you there.
Well, I tell you what, I know one thing that I've done, and it does work for me. I look forward to my dreams. I look forward to sleep. To me, sleep is very entertaining because those times I've actually woke up laughing in my sleep in the middle of the night. So I've had a good time. I have a good time in my sleep. I enjoy myself. So, but and what was I going to say with this? If you want to have good dreams at night, I tell this works for me. And I imagine, instead of thinking about what do you got to do tomorrow at work, or the bills I got to pay, or I got to get this taken care of, instead of thinking all these troublesome things, I usually read at night. So I'm reading about something I'm interested in. And when I'm ready to go to sleep, then I put the book down and I visualize me talking to people about what I just was reading. And so and that's a nice way to fall asleep. But now I'm falling asleep with something I like, whatever it is I'm reading, and it puts me in a nice frame of mind as I go into sleep mode. And so your dreams are nice. You dream nice things. So visualize you talking about something you're really interested in when you go to sleep at night, and it's a good way to fall asleep.
Stones affect your dreams.
What's that?
Like with lucid dreaming, the stone Nuumite.
Oh, what is
Nuumite?
it?
Nuumite. Nuumite.
Nuumite. Okay.
It's a black stone. It's got a couple of glittery things in it, but it actually is the new kid on the block as far as them discovering stones. This is from, maybe they found it, it's from the 60s they found it, and it's only mined, I think, in Greenland, Nuumite. But yet when they researched it, the stone itself is ancient, very, 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 very old. So there's something about it. It's a grounding stone, but also too, for me at least, I keep a piece of it under my pillow. I have for years. That's that black stone, Vince. That's under the
Oh, yeah,
pillow.
right, yeah,
Pneumite. Yeah,
okay.
Wow.
And
And
it's
that's
very good for dreaming. For
okay.
lucid dreaming. Yes, it's for clear dreaming. Also to a stone to open up things and that before you go to sleep is labradorite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, labradorite is very, very good.
Mm.
But I think that, I think our brain, our mind, it's always working when we're awake or we're asleep. It's just on a different frequency,
Yeah.
sort of. And I believe too that you can bring the two together by recording your dreams. Like if you can remember some things, even if it's bits and pieces, a few words, if you can write it down, and then that next day, maybe during the course of the day, read it back to yourself. And you're re-registering somehow that information back in your head. And that will too help your dreaming more.
Yeah.
Lucid dreaming brings better dreams to come to fruition. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I remember hearing this Jungian person talking about well, it was interpretation, but you could extend that to dreams as well. It's like your psyche loves you. So if you're
Okay.
listening to your dreams and you're working with them,
Mhm.
be delighted.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
Yeah.
neat. I used to tell, that's good. I like that.
yes.
Because I used to
Ooh,
tell people
very much.
the easiest way to develop your psychic awareness was pay attention to your dreams.
Mm.
I used to say that's where your dreams, that part of your mind is where your intuition comes from. So, and it's a very shy part of you or a very quiet part of you. And if you're willing to listen to what it's got to say, it'll start talking during your waking hours.
Mm.
And that's how I used to put it. And I think it will. And then it won't shut up.
We're so run sometimes by being judgmental. Everything is a judgment, for Christ's sake. I mean, what's the difference between a plant, a flower, and a weed? It's a judgment, actually. We've
Right.
decided that, so we're judging it. But
Yeah.
who knows what the reality is? We just determined that we're sitting talking right now. This is the reality, which it is. But we sleep also, too. So maybe that's the reality.
Mm.
And this is, it could be that, too. It's just that we've determined what it is. We've decided. But actually, it could be the other way around.
Mm. We could be the dream.
Yes, we could be the dream. Yes.
Who is dreaming us?
Yeah. Yeah, good question.
Okay. I don't know how to shut this phone off. Sorry.
Okay.
As far as images go, though, as you were saying, Sorcha,
Mm.
I think we associate images it makes us real easy for us to grasp an idea is what an image. So in other words, if we look at the tarot cards, I look at we're talking about the dreams. I look at the magician card as consciousness. And I look at the high priestess card as your subconscious or your dream state.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's easy to say, okay, well, this card means dreams, this card means awake.
Mm.
And I think
Yeah.
images have an effect on us like that. It zeroes us right into something that we think of. It can represent it. I don't know why, but I think it has we have value to that.
Mm. Yeah. Well, you were talking about the left and right sides of the brain,
Yeah.
weren't you? And if kind of implicit communication is I was talking about with the communicating with an infant, and I think again that when we're listening to somebody on an emotional level, that's more of the right side.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's how one way possibly that you're healing people is if you're picking up those things which they've either happened when they were aware, or they've happened before they even were able to lay down the neural connections to form memory, like what you call declarative memories, the memory you can talk about.
Oh,
Right.
declarative. Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
it's not like Freud thought that we repressed the early memories, but actually what what we think, well, I think we know it, is that it wasn't possible to remember that stuff, although people do have memories of birth and all sorts of stuff that they shouldn't be able to remember, and they do. I believe them.
Mhm.
But what am I saying here? Yeah, that they may be more that kind of the felt sense, the stuff that that is in people and they have experienced and still will be with them on some level,
Okay.
but that you will be able to pick that up implicitly through feeling, intuition. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right.
I would explain it to a person as being able to tune into possibly a past life, even.
Okay.
Associate why you're doing this, because that happened. Why you're feeling this, because that happened earlier.
See, I think
with that. That's very, very accurate. I'm understanding that though differently, but yeah.
No, my supervisor mentioned the past life things once, and I was in the training at that point, and I was finding the training, all the stuff that I was having to learn difficult enough. And then he said, "Oh, could be past life." I went, "No, don't." It is.
Well, I think our world, we really repress the right side of the mind anyway. We don't use it. I mean, we try. We don't think it's important in our society. We have a job. We know that the job is learned, and we don't use our feelings as much on the right side of the mind in our world around us. And if and that's a shame. And in a way, you got to do it that way, though. But it is a shame if you think about a manager, or you think about somebody at work. You have a job, you know your job, and if something goes wrong, and now you got to make a decision outside of what you do, all of a sudden people get all panicky. Like, oh no, what do I do? Because they can't use their imagination. They can't think, well, okay, this happened. I guess I should do this over here. Well, they get very uncomfortable about that. And that's why a manager is a person who is a little bit more comfortable with making a decision. But that's hard for a manager to do too. Lots of times they're very uncomfortable about everything going right. Everything, I know how things are supposed to go here. Now I got to make a decision. And it's outside of my realm. It's out of what I've learned. I've learned what to do. Now there's no answer there. Now I got to make a decision, and they're very uncomfortable about that. We don't develop that side.
Well, also, not only will they not be able to imagine, intuitively, they won't be able to think straight either, because when we get frightened, there's a load of adrenaline has been sloshed at our brain. That's gone offline, and we've gone into a survival mode.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like the bets are off because we're just primed to get away, run,
right,
hide,
that adrenaline. That's amazing. The body too. The body. I mean, have you ever just sat and moved your fingers and looked at your hands and understanding that this is automatic? It's your body. These are my fingers. These are my hands, but they can move on their own. And it just happens. How do you automatically walk? I mean, everything, it's just the human body is amazing. And I believe this from the healing aspect, especially. And this is what people need to be more in tune with and learn more about or remember now during these times. Pharmaceuticals. We need to look into natural ways. People are growing their own fruits and vegetables more. They're connecting differently, understanding differently. That's so important.
That's a sensory.
Talking to you, how can this it just happens? That's mind-boggling. And I don't really have to understand why it is. It's just what it is. And it's amazing. Amazing.
Well, it's right. There's a lot of things there's a certain part of our mind where it's just natural. It goes, well, that's the left side of the mind. After a while, it starts to be, you just don't think about it. You just do it.
Right.
Like driving a car.
We're evolving to.
When you first
That's
drive a
where we're
car, the
going.
first time you get in a car and you're learning how to drive a car, you are very aware about everything you're trying to do here. But now, after a while, you've driven a car so much, you don't even think about it. You're just doing it. You're not even
Right.
thinking about it. So it's in
Right.
that. So
You're
it's
thinking about other things, right?
right. But
Yeah.
that's also where you can get stuck in routines
Mm.
and that are really not good either.
Yeah.
You know, a good example of that is as a printer, we had in the early printing times of let's say the 50s, 60s, 70s, a paper cutter where you take a stack of paper, 28 by 40 inch pack of paper, maybe this thick, and it would be picked up and it would be put onto a cutter, big iron table, steel table, and it would be, the walls would come in on it and you would push where you're going to cut down on this whole stack. And it would be measurements on the table and you would move this paper to a certain spot. And then you would hit a pedal on the floor. And this blade would come down very slowly, like that, you know, just like that. And it was a very strong blade. It would come down and it would cut the paper right there. And then you would take it and move it again and cut it again and cut it. It was just like butter. So you get it right, you hit the pedal on the floor and the blade would come down and slide. And these guys doing this all day long, every day.
This is
Monday
a
through
bad ending.
Friday. No, you're right. Because now he's not thinking, he's got his hands still in there and he hits that pedal and he loses his hands. Or one hand, whatever. So then they said, okay, let's make it where you got to hit a button underneath now they have them set up where there's two buttons underneath the table. You got to push one hand, got to grab this button, push it up. This hand's got to push that button up, and then you push the pedal down. That ensures both your hands are off the table. Because you're not thinking about it. You're doing it all the time. It goes into the other part of your mind. You're not thinking about, but now, so that forces you to make sure, because that's how the mind works. And you can cut your hands off the other way. Even though you know how dangerous and how terrible that would be, you can still do it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how our mind works.
Yeah.
And so,
What happened to me yesterday when I was backing in the garage? What was that about? It's not funny, Vincent.
Oh.
You weren't here. Yes.
Right. You weren't at the Zoom yesterday.
That's right. She backed into the garage and she banged into the side of the garage and she put a dent in the quarter panel of the car. And she chipped into the garage a little bit. No big deal.
No, it's a bigger mess than that. But I don't know what happened. The car suddenly accelerated.
That's because you suddenly had your foot on.
I'm trying to figure out why. Was it a fault in the in the car? Was it my foot placement, the sandals I had on that had very thick rubber bottoms? But why did so how does that fit in? What happened to me if it was me? Why did that happen?
Yeah, you just made a mistake, that's all.
No, blame the car. No, it was something wrong with the car.
Or the garage.
You have to have the car checked.
The garage, either the garage or the car.
Anyway, it was
The
upsetting.
garage smacked the car.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The garage jumped right out in front of the car.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. You're fine. As long as nobody got hurt and we're fine. But she was mad because she was upset. We've been backing in there, been parking in that garage for years.
Oh, yeah.
But I did it about 10 years ago. I did that. It was New Year's Eve. It was with her car too. New Year's morning. We were getting gas. We were getting something. I got in her car. I pulled out of the garage and I dented her quarter panel. So you can have it's human nature, I pulled out wrong. Shoot, sorry. So human nature.
Well, what wasn't my brain doing though?
Probably thinking about the Zoom meeting.
I was in such a hurry to get to the Zoom meeting.
Oh, you were rushing.
I was rushing.
That's right.
It was rushing.
That's right. Anyway, but the mind is amazing. And I think that, we still don't know a lot about it. I would say, wouldn't you say, Sorcha? We're still learning.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fascinating, really. And I don't think I'm up to date with the neuroscience of it.
Okay, all
I think
right.
there's a lot more than I would like to know. For instance, how we get those images. I'm still bang on about that.
Okay, all right. Now, when you're talking about how we get images, you're talking about like the archetype type of images?
Well, yeah, how they arose, I suppose. Because when you were talking about Helen of Troy, and I've forgotten what else. Although you were really
The Loci system, yeah.
Yeah, you were illustrating that. But I was thinking about, well, you see that, you know, our feelings, you know, we've got our basic feelings, which, you know, become kind of more complicated as we are human, you know, become cognized, you know, connected with thoughts. But why, I've just thrown myself out there, why, the stories that you were mentioning, they are problems, aren't they? They're kind of, in a way, you know, like a lot of fairy tales are, you know, about really unhappy families, basically, where things go really wrong, where there's like insects, somebody gets slung out, where children get eaten, or abandoned, or somebody, you know, a mother dies, or a father, you know, dies.
That's the plot. Yes.
So it's like the bad things that happen. And so if those fairy tales, those kind of myths, you know, if they are, you know, just a certain number of stories, and they are archetypal, then is there something about those images coming from, you know, they are part of the solution to those difficult things that happen, that we feel really difficult about? That's what I'm wondering.
Okay. Well,
or it gives us an example that problems can be solved.
Yeah, that's what she said. Maybe that's where the answer is, with the image. Yeah,
absolutely. And then that comes into, did you want to finish then? Were you winding down? And
no, that's okay. No, I was just talking. No, that's okay. I'm good.
Because I was thinking about what you said about routine, you know, when we get into that kind of automatic response thing. And then I was thinking about the images, you know, the images that we've got of the tarot, and how they kind of they knock our routine thinking out. You know, when you apply the conceptual blending, you know, that's about solving the problems, and, you know, introducing those random elements, and then, you know, using those images to help to solve the problem.
Right. Yeah. I think that they do. And I think that's the way just our mind works. I think we're very visual. Look at what's that ink block test, that what they call that?
Rock something.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. The rub something. We're going to make something out of that splotch of ink. We're going to look at it and make something out of it, a butterfly or somebody's head or whatever. You know, we will make something out of it. And that's conceptual blending. If you identify what you're making out of it and put some meaning to it, but we will identify it as something we're familiar with.
But I think it'll be useful.
Yeah, we're not going to look at it and say, well, I don't know what that is. We will figure something out as we look at that. It looks like something, and we'll find it in those watchtower blotches, whatever they're called. Now, what we find might, the person who's doing the test might say, well, this person is negative thinking, or this person is positive thinking, or whatever they use that test for. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'm just saying we will look at it and find something in there that we identify with.
Yeah.
You might see something different than me, but I'm going to find something in there, and my mind's going to keep on going until I do. So we look at images and we make something out of it. We will interpret an image very easily. Yeah.
Right. That's what, like readings.
Huh?
Same thing with reading tea leaves or coffee grounds.
Yeah. And by the way, I've got an example, which is I was drawing something. I'm in I do an art class, and
Oh, okay.
we're doing some stuff at the moment, and I just got really interested in drawing skeletons. Don't ask me why. And I've been busting and a while ago, actually, that was something, I think it came out of, that was something in the group. I forget what it was. I ended up looking at, was it Vincent Price? That was it. It was in your, yeah, it went, you know, the deck that you've made, the Swiss.
The one JJ Swiss? Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a king in that, and he looks like Peter Cushing. Yeah. Do you know the one?
No, I don't know. I have to look and see.
Right. Okay.
Peter Cushing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Let me find it. And then, but I got Peter Cushing and Vincent Price confused. Anyway, I went and started looking at Vincent Price online, as you do, and then found him, Vincent Price, you know, very campily holding the hands of a skeleton at one point. And I don't know, it started my imagination. Anyway, so I ended up drawing this skeleton upside down in the hanged man thing. And so this project, I was just sort of developing that a bit. And I noticed when I took a photograph of, I've got a model. Where is he?
Oh yeah, your little skeleton.
Yeah, he's this is what's happened to him.
Oh, the hangman, yeah.
Or is it or yoga?
I love it.
And then and then when I took a photograph of it, you know, for the reference.
Cinco de Mayo kind of thing.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, maybe it's Cinco de Mayo. Maybe it's, that's why the skeletons are in with the Cinco de Mayo kind of thing. Or November 1st is also too Day of the Dead.
Yeah, what is it?
November 1st, I think.
Something, something to much
Hispanic people.
Was it? I got that deck in front of me right now. And was it was it the King of Cups?
Oh,
it was either the King of Cups or the King of Swords, I bet.
Hang on, I'm looking at the wrong one now.
I haven't looked at Peter Cushing in years, but I'm
right. No, this is no. I'm looking at the Marseille. It's lovely.
Oh, okay. No,
thank you.
Yeah,
I love this.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
I love it.
Maybe Sorcha was a chiropractor. The past
with the skeleton with the bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will find it. And
well, I bet you it's the King of Cups. Anyway, either that or the King of Swords, because
anyway, I'm going off at a tangent. Anyway, I ended up doing this skeleton, and it had a shadow, the shadow behind it. So, you know, Jungian shadow and all that. And then I thought, it looks like a dog. So I ended up drawing it with the shadow was a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Do feel free to cut this part of it out. I don't know why I'm telling you this. There was something.
Wow, I think it's great. I love it.
Thank you. But it was about images and the development of them or something, I think. I can't remember. Anyway.
Well, I love it. I think with art is, like you said, images, it opens, our minds are open to so many different ideas with images, especially with art. Look at the difference in styles of art. Look at Picasso to Rembrandt, you know. So we're very visual.
So there's something about meaning.
Yeah.
Meaning, and solving problems maybe with in the stories. Well,
I know that from I read somewhere that original tarot cards were called portable art. They weren't called cards. They weren't cards yet. They were painted on boards or whatever, you know, in the 1400s or 50s. I don't know. I guess an artist had to paint them on pieces of wood or something heavy. They weren't considered a card. They didn't have cards yet. But so portable art. So really, that's basically what they were to begin with, was images just to
Mm.
spark ideas for some reason. I don't know why, but they were called artwork. They weren't called cards.
There is an interesting video on YouTube where they're looking at 14th century art and finding connections between the artist Botticelli and some of the tarot images and another artist. So I should send that to you. You might find that interesting.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I'll take that. Send me the link.
And I think that was an idea that the images were used with something about the virtues, teaching about virtues or
Oh, the
something.
7 virtues or whatever those were.
Yeah, but there's more that, yeah, I mean, there's more images in a pack of cards. So I should have watched it properly before I started talking about it, really. But I'll send that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. But no, images have something for us. I don't know why, but we've always had images thousands of years ago. Look at the Egyptian art and stuff like that. We've painted pictures on inside of caves or temples or whatever, you know. We've always had a thing for images, art.
The first paintings revered animals, didn't they?
Yes.
They
Yeah, imitative magic. I think, like you said, we called it. Or I think that's what it was called.
I think they'd stopped revering animals by then, and they were hunting them. I think that was.
Oh yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
So
it was like
either
you do what you could.
recording it after, or wanting it to happen, I guess.
Yeah, I think they were thinking, in order for the hunt to be good, we have to recreate it. We have to create it on a wall. But maybe it was the other way around. Maybe there was just news that they were putting on there. But I think that they were thinking that this was going to be a magical help us with the hunt, is create us killing the animal. And I don't know where I don't remember where I got that information. It was in school. I know that it was in college. I took 1 semester of college.
What were you doing?
Art, history of art. My art class was history of art. And we went back to Paleolithic and Neolithic, all the way up to, into Renaissance and all these other times. But I do remember back in the cave times, they were saying that the instructor was saying to me and to us in the class at that point that they thought this was imaginative magic or whatever. I think that's what they called it, where simulate what you want in an image, and then it'll help happen.
That's how we started.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think I was sort of imagining that you should have probably been on a foundation course or something and going to art school? I don't know if you have that in the States. I mean, in England we have this thing. It's a year you do a foundation course in art, and then you get to use all these different materials and stuff, and then you go off and go study fine art or go into design or something like that. And
okay.
It's a real chance to just try everything, and then it becomes kind of sort of diagnostic in a way. It kind of shows you where you.
That's good to be able to try everything like a sampler. That's great.
Yeah. This course that I was taking, we weren't doing anything but learning. It was just book card. We weren't drawing anything or nothing. It was just the history of what was going on with what we took art. But yeah, it's kind of neat that they have that, what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
The foundation of art. What is art? Okay. You got pastels, you got sculpture, you got oils, you got all these different things. And then you could, it's like a smorgasbord.
Yeah. I think that's probably would have done you better. You might have been able to stick that more easily.
When I was in school at the Art Institute, they didn't have that. It was one or the other. And then it would, after a while, it got boring. It would be nice to intermix too, you know?
What did you do, Lynda?
Oh, I got a scholarship from school and I
Got a
studied.
scholarship in 8th grade, I think.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I
She was
studied,
at the Art Institute of Chicago with her art. Yeah, she was.
Wow.
But my father wanted me to be a commercial artist, and I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to be a commercial artist. I wanted to be an interior decorator,
Oh,
and I didn't do either. But I really enjoyed, and I still am creative. I can appreciate you, Sorcha, how you see things too with the little bandanas and the
Oh
screen
yeah,
protectors
right.
and that.
Yeah.
Like, wow, how cool is that? And your little potato. Yeah, and it just feels good looking at it. It feels good. Like, oh, you feel it inside. So nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. I liked
Yeah.
your bandana that because you put one onto the screen, didn't you? And it was on one of them. Didn't you? You put a
Who, me?
bandana.
I didn't get up there. Vince did something.
I don't know if
I wanted to.
I don't think I did it. I think
some
Mike did
ribbon
it.
and put leaves on it, but I never got to it.
I think Mike did that.
Okay.
Or I don't
Mike.
I didn't have any.
Mike is a
Rourke?
hidden person there.
Huh?
Mike, I know you and Lynda are in the house, but Mike is.
Oh,
somebody else.
no. Yeah, no, not here. If there was a picture that was digitally put a bandana on it, I didn't do that. It might have been Mike Rourke who did that.
Oh no,
from-
that was
from
me. That was me.
Facebook.
No, that was
Oh,
me.
that you
doing-
did that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure one of your YouTubes, you had a bandana on the screen, didn't you? Didn't you actually put one? Am I going
You
mad?
did, Vince. He did. He
Oh
did.
my god! I
It
thought it
was
was
a
going
yellow
crazy.
bandana.
Oh, did I? Did I?
Yes.
I know, like a filter?
No, I thought you put the bandana on the screamer. I remember seeing that.
Oh, on the screamer. Yeah.
screamer,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, he had a bandana. That's right. Here, we'll get this guy.
He had a yellow one, I think it was, the yellow printed one on
This
him.
one won't fit.
Yeah, I wanted to get up there. I wanted to make, Yvonne said, go to the fabric store and buy some wide black ribbon and then paste on some little leaves. And I never got to it. Never got to do it.
It's a great idea.
Bandanas, I look at it and said, how you think so creatively? Very creatively.
Yeah, Sorcha,
I
she
like
does,
that.
Yeah, you could tell you're an artist.
Yes,
So you're a psychologist or are you a psychoanalyst, right?
No, I'm a psychotherapist.
Psychotherapist,
Yeah.
right.
I know it's all these
Psychotherapist.
all those we're just all psycho basically.
So you're a psycho and you're also an artist.
Yeah,
You're a psycho artist. A psycho artist. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, I like this. I like doing this. And we could talk all day here. But I want to know, would you like to do this again, Sorcha?
I would love to. There's more that I want to say. So another time would be great.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. Me too. I'd love to do this again.
You,
And,
Lynda?
Let's,
Yes.
Lynda, you want to do this
Yes.
again then?
Great.
All right. You want to set a date right now or no?
Oh, we could do.
Lynda, you want to set it? Is it good? How about like a week from today? Want to do a week from today?
What is today,
Yeah.
Wednesday? Next Wednesday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I-
that would be the second. That would be the 2nd of November.
Cool. Okay. I'll just write that down.
Okay.
November. No, it's lovely because I was really, really nervous. And
Oh, yeah,
just
no.
completely at ease. Thank you. Both of you.
it's-
Oh, wait, could we do it in 2 weeks? Would that be okay? Two
Sure.
Wednesdays from now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
So that's plus be the 9th, not 9th of November.
yes,
Okay.
Okay. All right. We'll make it the
9th of
9th.
November, okay.
Okay, 9th of
Yeah.
November. And that's when we'll do it. Okay, 9th of November. In the meantime, I'm sure we'll be in touch, Sorcha, because for one thing, we have our next Zoom meeting is the 8th of November anyway.
Right.
So
okay.
it'll be the day after our next Zoom meeting.
You've gone dark. What's happened, Vincent?
Oh, yeah, what happened to me here?
You've gone all Halloween there.
Yeah, I don't know, let me see here. Let me
Oh,
see.
yeah, they're having did you tell Sorcha well, probably Pat will tell her, a Halloween, what is it called, Vince? On Halloween?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, Sorcha. You weren't at the Zoom meeting.
No,
So,
I mean, apparently it was really, really funny.
yeah. Now,
yeah.
when is that gonna be, Lynda? It's gonna be the 30th, is it?
On Halloween.
Okay, Halloween.
31st.
Okay.
Halloween is gonna be, yeah, it's the 31st. It's a Monday. And now it's gonna be 6 o'clock my time, so it'll be midnight your time.
Oh, no.
No, yeah, we already, yeah, right. The bewitching hour, yeah. It was already decided. It's all candlelight.
Oh, wow.
And if you want to come in, we're just gonna get together for Halloween. And
Oh.
that's just what we're doing.
Well, that's
I'm gonna
because
have
you
I'm
want
gonna
to
have a
sit
link up
upstairs.
there.
and I have to take care of the children.
It'll,
I'll be in charge of the trick or treaters downstairs.
there'll be a link at Tarot Maps to it if you want to go to it. And
Cool.
it'll be Halloween night, midnight your time, 6 o'clock my time. So
Wow.
but yeah, so yeah, I might not even be there.
No, you
I'll
might
be
have to answer the door for the children.
Yeah, but anyway, we're supposed to have that, and it's supposed to be candlelight if you do it,
Oh,
and it's supposed to be scary.
such fun.
Yeah,
I think
right.
I think I'm up at 7 before you have a client at 7. So I
Yeah,
get
you
up
don't want to do it. I don't blame
I'm
you.
sleeping.
Come in your dream.
I'll astrally project.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just
Send-
in your
Send a
dream.
dream.
Come by in the dream, and we'll say hi there.
You'll record it, right?
But anyway, we're gonna do our thing with you. Again, let's see here. Like I said, okay, that'll be the 9th of November. And this was I'm glad we did this, Sorcha. It's so great. And as far as I'm concerned, we can just put the whole thing up. Would you think that's fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't be able
Okay
to
put
watch.
your dream up, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I can't watch myself, so I won't see it, and I'll just trust you that it's
Oh,
great.
okay. Well, I can give you a private one on this, but if you wanted, but
No. Put it. No, do put
okay.
it.
Okay, great.
I don't mind other people seeing it at all. It's me. What was I going to say? I forgot what it was now. Darn it. Oh, I know. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you very, very much, both
Oh
of you,
yeah.
Oh,
for this and helping
you're
me.
so nice, Sorcha. You are.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad, and thank you for doing it too. And I'm glad we did this, and you're an interesting person, and it was fun to do.
Thank you.
And I'm sure other people are gonna like this too.
I hope so. Of course.
Okay, well, we'll do it again. Have a
Yep.
good day. and
Right,
take care,
yes.
Sorcha.
All right. You take care, both of you. Lots of love.
Okay.
Thank you. Love
Okay.
you both. Love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
Love you.